We're at Loyola Marymount. They are facing off against U.S. International University and destroying them up by 40 points with just a little over a minute left in the game, where both teams would score over 140 points. But U.S. International's Kevin Bradshaw steps to the free throw line to shoot 2 free throws. And if he makes them, he breaks legendary basketball player Pete Maravich's all-time record for the most points in a college basketball game. He's already scored more than Wilt Chamberlain ever did, more than Oscar Robertson, and now he's about to beat Pistol Pete. He sinks the 2 free throws to break Pistol Pete's record and would finish the game with 72 points, a record that has stood for over 30 years. Question is, why don't you know who Kevin Bradshaw is? Join us today as we dive into why and who Kevin actually was. Today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide, because when it comes to playing basketball, I've scored 72 points my entire life. So, who was Kevin Bradshaw? And why do you not know him? Well, honestly, if he made different choices, he probably would have made it to the NBA and would have been at least a name you've heard of before. But he made some different choices in life and ended up where he thinks he should have been. So he grew up in Gainesville, Florida, and he played along Vernon Maxwell in high school, and he averaged over 30 points as a senior and was first team All-State. So who came knocking at his door? Well, the Gainesville School, Florida, of course, and he turned them down, instead deciding to go to Bethune-Cookman University, an historic black college. But as he felt more comfortable on that campus. But the problem was he felt too comfortable. Got in with the wrong crowd, and even though he was averaging almost 20 points by his sophomore season with Bethune, he was let go of the team due to drinking, doing drugs, poor grades, basically all the things you don't want a student athlete doing. So Bethune let him go. And he had another issue. His girlfriend had just gotten pregnant, and he needed a way to support her and their future kid. So he joined the Navy, because in the Navy, you can sail the 7 seas. In the Navy, you can put your mind at ease. Sorry, if you don't know what that was a song by the Village People called In the Navy. But the Navy actually allowed him to get right, stop being a knucklehead, as Charles Barkley would say. And he did. He was providing for his family, he was getting right, basically getting free rehab. And all branches of the armed forces actually have basketball teams that aren't actually associated with their schools that they have, like Naval Academy, Army, Air Force. Those are all universities that actually have Division I basketball. Most notably, David Robinson, the Admiral, got that nickname because he actually went to Navy back in the 80s, right around the time somebody else was in the Navy. And Kevin actually crossed paths with David Robinson because he became the best player on his boat. So he joined the bases team, became the best player on the base team, and so he joined the Navy team, and they would go around, play exhibition games against other teams all across the world. Basically a Navy all-star team, where he joined another Navy man in David Robinson. And David actually told him, you need to get out of here. You are too good a player to be playing here. Because David Robinson was already drafted into the NBA. He knew what it took to play in the NBA. He had been part of Team USA. He just had to serve his 2 years in the Navy before he could join the Spurs. So with that confidence, his contract with the Navy was ending, and he was getting recruited by lots of people. Arizona State, San Diego State, and a little school in San Diego called US International. You probably never heard of it because they went bankrupt during Kevin Bradshaw's senior season. Coach Gary Zarsky recruited him there, but recruited him as a person. And that's why he chose there. He could have gone to these bigger schools, and if he would have gone to these bigger schools, if he would have gone to Florida, Arizona State, even San Diego State, most likely he would have done very well and would have made it to the league. But instead he went to these smaller schools that fit him better. And Gary really told him, you can go and have the ball, run our fast-paced offense like Loyola Marymount was running, a team they regularly played, and that was known for the run and gun with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers, and that's exactly what he did. His first season with U.S. International, he averaged over 31 points a game. And his second season, he led the nation in scoring, averaging 37 points a game. And the reason he averaged so much is he basically played all 40 minutes of the game. He was in the Navy. He knew how to battle through adversity. And so Coach Suzuki just played him as much as he could because the team really needed it. Because they were not a good team. The first season Kevin was there, they were able to be okay. They were fourth in the nation in scoring, but second to last in defense, which led them to be 12-16 overall. But his senior year, 1991, they were just awful. They only won 2 games. And the reason for that really is the fact that was the last season the team would ever play. The school went bankrupt, so they lost some players, and they lost support from the school, obviously, because they didn't have any more money. So they were finishing out the season the best way they could. And so Zdarsky and Kevin really wanted to do something to leave their mark on the team. So on January 5th, 1991, they were playing Loyola Marymount in Loyola, who was known for this run and gun offense. They were 2 years away from Paul Westhead and Hank Gathers and Bo Kimball. But Paul Westhead's assistant, Jay Hillcock, took over and ran basically the same offense. So they were still scoring lights out, top 5 in scoring every year he coached there. So 2 teams that only want to shoot, run as fast as they can, shooting over 100 times a game. This was a game where something special could happen. And in the opening minutes, it looked like no defense was ever going to be played in this. So by halftime, Kevin Bradshaw had 48 points. That's a high for players that are Hall of Famers in the NBA, let alone a player you've never heard of. And at this time, he could easily break Pete Maravich's record. He only needed 21 more points, and the way the game was going, it didn't look like anyone was going to play defense against him, and people didn't want him to do it. Now, there's 2 reasons that people would not want this record broken. One is a terrible reason. One is an okay reason, but who really cares? One reason is Kevin was black. Pete was white. Now, this was 1991, but race still was a big thing going on at the time. And the other reason is Pete was a legend, one of the best to ever play college basketball, and he had passed away a few years earlier. I mean, he didn't want to see that taken away from him. But that's not Kevin's problem. Kevin needs to do what's best for him, and he's not really paying attention to the score. He's just playing like he's played all season. He's leading the nation in scoring. He's a scorer, and so he's just scoring. And so, with just over a minute left, he needs 2 points to break Pete Maravich's record. He steps to the free throw line, and he sinks both ones, tying the record. It would hit a 3 to break the record, giving him 72 points, becoming the all-time leading single-game scorer in college basketball Division I. We'll get to that. Hitting 23 shots, hitting 19 from the free throw line, scoring over a point a minute. They lose to Loyola Marymount, not by little. They lose by 46 points. It's 186 to 104, which was also an NCAA record for Division I. It was the most points combined scored in a game. So it was a lot going on. Each team shot over 120 shots. It was like the coaches were playing NBA Jam. And like we said, at halftime, when people were a little worried if he would actually break the record, it was a little tepid when he actually broke the record. This was a great moment, probably the biggest moment of Kevin's career. Up until that point, it would probably be the biggest in his career, but he didn't know that at the time. And it was just kind of viewed as okay, partly because maybe there was a race component, or just maybe people were sad to see a record from Pete Maravich be broken. But Kevin deserved this. He worked his way through it. He wasn't just a one-time person that did this. And he showed that the school's one asset, since they were in bankruptcy, was him. The problem was, after this, he didn't have a whole lot. See, he was a guard. He stood 6'6", so he had the size to make it to the NBA. And he was really hoping to get drafted. But nobody called his name. Nobody even tried him out. Partly because he went to a small school that was closed down. Partly because he had some issues in the past. Partly because he was 25, going to be 26 when he entered the league. That's very old. Lots of players now are in the league before they even get to 20. So even though he could score, he was pretty much pro-ready on a scoring factor. That was all he had. So when he didn't get drafted, didn't get a call from any NBA teams, he went on to play in Israel. And coincidentally enough, he was a great scorer over there too. He ended up scoring 101 points in a single game over there, showing how great of a scorer he actually was. And many of the players who had previously played in the NBA that were playing overseas there with him or against him were like, sorry, dude. I don't know why you're here and not in the NBA, but sometimes the chips fall where they may. Now, Kevin doesn't dwell on the fact that he didn't go to the NBA. If he would have made different school choices, maybe he would have made it to the NBA. Maybe he would have made different choices when he was at Bethune-Cookman. He could have made it, but he chose his path, and that led him to where he now became a coach and educator, helping inner city youth have more success, using his background and what he went through in life to help guide kids, and that's what he really loves. He's making more of an impact doing that than he ever could have made on the basketball court, and that means a lot. It also shows you that these records that means so much to so many people that live for the test of time can be great. It also can be meaningless because it's not always about what you do on the court. It's about who you are as a person off the court. And that's what Kevin did after he was done playing basketball. And let's be honest, did you even know who Kevin was before you listened to this episode? I know I didn't before I researched him. 72 points is great. Will it ever be broken with how sports are? Honestly, probably not. It will take something crazy, but it is possible. Now, this was a record, and it's a record that still holds for Division I. And since he set this record, the closest anyone has come was Ryan Tolson of Utah Valley in 2009, who scored 63 points in a 4 overtime game. So it took a lot for him to get to that, and he was still 9 points shy. Now, there are other instances where players who were on a Division I team played non-Division I teams and were able to beat this record. There was actually 4 players that scored more than this. Frank Salvi from Fordham in 1954 scored 100 points. And there's 3 other players, and all these were mainly in the 50s or before. One guy did it in the 70s. And there's also, in Division III, Jack Taylor of Grinnell College in 2012 scored 138 points. It's a crazy amount. He shot a crazy amount of threes. But this shows you this record can be broken. It's just going to happen. It will. One of these days. And hopefully, it's by a person that ended up in a good situation, just like Kevin. My question for you is, how many years do you think it'll take before this record will actually be broken? I want to thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. If you like this, please like and subscribe wherever you're at. And if you want to contribute to the show, head over to dailysportshistory.com. You can leave a voice memo or an email and let us know a topic you would like me to cover, and I'll give you a shout out at the end of the episode. And we'll see you on the next one.